Good evening, my fellow stress managers. Tonight we're moving on from wacky recommendations for things to eat to finances, because your finances are, for most people, a major cause of stress. If you followed the recommendation that I gave right at the beginning of this series, then you will have written down a list of things that are contributing to your stress levels. Excuse me. So hopefully one of them was a list of things that you need to pay out each month, which are they cause you anxiety, they cause you worry, and they're going to fall into different groups. They're going to be things that you absolutely have to pay out, such as your rent and your electricity and gas bills. Finances that you have some sort of control over, but they're optional on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. That would include anything from what type of coffee you drink. If you're already cutting back, then as a result of doing that, then that's great. All the way up to, I don't know, vacations. Are you planning to take out a loan to go on a vacation of a lifetime this year because we'll go to Disney World, whatever, because that's what you do every year? And that again ultimately is a choice you make. The third area would be bills that are racked up, and I'm talking about debt basically. There are things that you buy and you don't really need, but you are told that you need to. We'll come back to this in a moment. And the bills are the way that you finance them, and there are many ways of financing something, depending as well on the culture in which you live. So for example, in some cultures everything is done on credit cards, which are very, very easy to come by. In other cultures credit is frowned upon, but there are other ways of giving you things so you pay back over a long term. And what tends to happen with these things is that you end up paying more than if you had the cash to go and say, here, let's say something's $100 normally. If you buy, in the first example, using credit card, then you could end up paying a heck of a lot more because of the interest. Where are we going with this? Well, the first most important aspect of this is to realize that the whole credit industry is based on two, I don't want to call them lies, they're tricks more than anything. The first thing is that when somebody successfully advertises something to you, it's not on what you, based on what you need, it's on what they make you want it. In other words, they have found very clever ways to make an emotional response occur within you towards that thing. And classic case is iPhones, which, as far as I'm aware, are a lot more expensive than their rivals. But you have been, if you are, and I've got one. It's an iPhone 6, admittedly, so it's quite old, but it is an iPhone, and I will admit that it is nice looking. That is one of the ploys. They use the word beautiful. You'll notice that a certain politician uses the word beautiful a lot because it's got good connotations, and if you are told something is beautiful enough, then you will buy into that. So as an emotional response being worked on, your emotional triggers are being pulled. You pull a trigger, don't you? Yeah. So longing and want, all those things, they work on your emotions rather than at the logic level. And this ties into how your brain works. Some very clever person in advertising realized that if you can make somebody long for something, give them an emotional response, any amount of a rational thought will get overridden, because this is how the subconscious mind and the conscious mind work. The conscious mind is usually based in logic. It might be false logic, but it's logical nevertheless. I mean that the reasoning may be based on false assumptions, but nonetheless it's logical and it's relatively cold. Emotions don't give a damn about logic. Your emotions just, they're there, and the subconscious is there to overpower your logical mind in certain circumstances to keep you safe and or alive. That's its job, and it does it very effectively, and it's a bulldozer when it needs to be. That's not to say your logical mind can't win sometimes, because your subconscious mind is also in favor of experimentation. So for example, when your logical mind says, it's a slight detour, but I'm going to get to the point, when he says, let's try this new diet, and then your subconscious mind's new. New. Ooh, excitement, let's try it, okay. And then after about 3 weeks, maximum, it gets bored and it floods you with all kinds of negative emotions to get you away from that diet and back to the more stressful eating pattern, or stress-inducing eating pattern that you have, because it's familiar. Your subconscious mind likes the familiar. It likes what it is used to, and it also craves a little bit of excitement, but basically it likes what it is used to. But it's also the seat of emotions such as longing for what it is used to, longing for a better life, because if you can make the subconscious mind feel that it's miserable, and you're under stress, aren't you? So you are feeling a bit miserable. You're not happy. This is a How to Be Happy channel. So the subconscious mind wants that. And if the person advertising to you can tell you that you will be happier if you buy their product, it may be a complete lie. If it's a blatantly stupid lie, such as you'll be happier if you shoot your leg off with our 12-bore shotgun, then your subconscious mind isn't going to buy that. But if it can tell you that your life is going to be so much better if you trade in your iPhone 6 for an iPhone, where are we up to now, 12, 13, I don't know, then the subconscious mind is going to listen. And there are other little ways of getting you. So that is the first part. We're up to 8 minutes. That is the groundwork done. What happens next is you can't afford it, but you want it. So you've got the stress of wanting something and the stress of not being able to buy it. There's a very quick and easy way of getting rid of that stress, isn't there? We'll look at that tomorrow. Okay, good night, and here's to your reduced stress and increased happiness.